Where are you from?
Originally from Guyana, but formerly it was British Guyana.
Okay. How old are you now?
I'm in my 77th year.
Okay, then we're going to talk about before you actually came to this country. Talk about your family
Yes,
in Guyana.
I came from a very ordinary family. It was a strict upbringing because in those days we believed in their religion, had to go to churches. But it was a life that I enjoy and I gained a lot of experience from it.
Okay. How many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had three brothers and 2 sisters.
Are you from a big family, big extended family sort of thing?
Yes, the family on the whole is quite big, quite large. But our immediate family, it's about 7 of us altogether.
Okay, what about education? Were you school in Guyana?
Oh yes, I went to school. I went to school in Guyana and I took a school leaving. That is what probably it's the equivalent of the GCSE here. Yes, I went that far to school.
Okay, so you had qualifications from there.
Oh yes, we had some qualifications from there.
Okay, what about your childhood? Any good childhood memories that you have?
As I said, you're bringing in childhood memories. I enjoy being in little associations that branch off from the churches. We had organizations what we call like Wesley Gill, Junior Gill, where they used to, you had in turn, when the roll is called, you had to reverse a passage from the Bible, a verse from the Bible. And that in itself has brought you on in the line of Christianity.
Okay, was that like a young people's meeting?
Young people, yes. They used to get the senior girl and the junior girl. So the young people used to get this junior girl coming up.
Okay. So your life was around church. Most of it was around going to church.
Yes. Well, that is the type of life I should think with most of, I don't know if I should go so broadly as to say the third world countries, but I know for the West Indian Islands and like in British Guyana as well. That is the way we've been brought up. That is the way we've been taught.
Okay. Did you do any jobs? Did you work over there?
Oh yes. I was involved in like construction work a lot. I did quite a few years of that. But after I finished that, I went and I was employed at the base at the time during the war, 1945 war. I did a bit of that on the Windrush program. And I was employed as an auxiliary military police on the base.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're coming to England now. What year did you come to England?
1956. I came to England 1956.
Okay, you came by yourself?
Yes, at the time I came by myself.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you come on the boat or?
I came by boat.
Oh, you came by boat.
Yes. During the time that I came, the boat had, we had some boat that they had just started to transport passengers from these islands, like from Guyana, and from Trinidad, and from Barbados.
Okay, what was the experience of traveling on the boat and arriving here?
Well, I enjoyed the traveling by boat because that was one of my jobs, even in Guyana, working on board a ferry ship. I was employed as, I don't think you would understand the term, but when you say donkey man on board a ship in the engine room, is one that can do utility work. You can use him as an idler, maybe a second engineer, a fireman, you know, and that is the term they call it. So I was employed there on board that ferry boat for a considerable time. So traveling on board that ship, it didn't affect me.
Okay. Why did you decide to come to England?
I had an opportunity where I could have gone to America. But as I say, being colonized and with our teaching, it always portrayed to us that this is our mother country. And I felt I would have had a better opportunity coming here with the teaching I had, you know, to get accustomed to England rather than America.
Okay. Okay, and what were your first impression when you arrived in this country? Was it what you expected?
Well, one of my first impressions, because we landed at Plymouth and traveling on board the train from Plymouth to the Liverpool Street Station and seeing all the houses, I felt all there was industry. I said, well, factories, you know. I never accustomed to see these chimneys and puffing a lot of smoke. So I said, we're well off here because so many industries, we must find a job.
Okay, what about employment?
Well, I was fortunate because I never had a day. I came to Wolverhampton, I landed at Liverpool Street Station, and I went to Ipswich. I spent 1 week in Ipswich. But I had somebody, a friend I used to communicate with in Wolverhampton.
Okay.
And we soon get in touch with each other, and I traveled to Wolverhampton. And from the day I came, I had 1 day's rest, and I went straight to Goodyear's. And I worked for Goodyear's for 25 years as a tire builder.
Okay. Mm. What about family? When were you married?
Well, yes, I sent for the wife, and she came and with the children. And fortunate for me, when we came first, it was normal. We had to make do with rooms. But after working and we decided to have a home, then we settled, we bring the kids, their wife, of course, and we get all the family together. They're all grown up now and they're married.
How many kids do you have?
I have 3.
Okay. Were they all born in this country or they were born?
Born in this country. One born in Guyana.
Oh, so one came over with your wife from
Yeah. She came over after.
What year was that?
That was about 19. Tell what year was that? She came up about 1976 or so.
What was the housing? Did you have good housing? What was the condition of the house?
You mean when I came?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't satisfactory at all. That's why it was difficult for you to think about bringing the family right away. Mm-hmm. Because it was a bit rough. It wasn't something that you had expected. It was not comfortable at all.
Okay. Were you sharing with other people?
You share with other people, and the houses at that time, all the toilets was outdoors. See? Yeah.
Yeah, what about religion? You're a strong believer of Christianity. Do you still?
Yes, I still attend churches, yeah, because I strongly believe in the faith. I respect all religion. I won't criticize no religion, whatever. I respect whatever people go for, you know, because I think at the end of the day, it's the one God, regardless of what name you call it. But there's a supreme being, and I respect everybody belief.
So do you still follow the same beliefs and go to churches?
I go to church. I go to church here. When I go back to Guyana, I go to my traditional Methodist church. If it's convenient, I'll go to a Methodist church here. If not, I'll go to any church.
Okay. What about racism? What are your experiences of racism here in Wolverhampton?
I was a bit disappointed, really. But it's not something that I totally didn't expect. What I was surprised about is how the English people didn't know much about us. And the teaching we had, we knew about white people. And as I say, you know, all our legislation used to come from Britain. And when you think about what we've been taught, you see, well, this England is the supreme to us. And I felt, okay, we was backward. According to that, we was not in power. And when I came here, it was surprising to me that people didn't know. So I had wanted to know, this is one of the things that, I mean, we had this conversation that I would like to know where, after this interview, where it would end up. Because I think the history, it must have been hidden somewhere. Why you find so many people did not, I won't say everyone, did not know much about black people.
Okay.
Because it should have been known that, I mean, Britain had colonized all these places. And most of these places, the population was predominantly Afro-Caribbean and from the Asian background.
Yeah.
So that was a surprise to me.
Okay. So what do you feel about Wolverhampton and the changes that's been made since you've been here?
Well, Wolverhampton has changed immensely. I think it's changed for the better. Things are getting better every day, I should think. When you look at the environment, especially the housing, there's great improvement with that and the roads and everything, okay? But I think much more could be done. Much more could be done, I think, as I mentioned, people must have to respect other people's culture. And there's a reluctance. And I say it's a pity, you know, that for so long you had, as we term, immigrants in Wolverhampton, and still you find that some people are not quite comfortable. That is a shame in itself, because it's about time that you realize that people came here, we didn't came here as people. Sometimes your critic says that, I mean, we come here as immigrants. And sometimes I just be annoyed when I hear remarks like, we fought the war. Of course, that this is what I'm saying. What happened to history? You got people from, look Gurkhas. Look, people from the West Indies. I lost an uncle in 1918 war. Nothing has been mentioned about this thing. I myself was involved in that base.
Okay.
Yeah, and what was transmitting stations there, it was quite active at the time. Because at the time, the technology wasn't there. And the plane could not have refuel in the air. And the closest base was the base in Guyana. So it was quite active there. And people doesn't recognize this, people doesn't realize this. And when you're here, and you know how dangerous it was. And when you know, and sit and hear, with all you took part in that activity, and people says no, not, yes, we was in the war, and they came here and they take all away our work and all that. It annoys me.
So you resent the idea that a lot of black people are
Of course,
actually
a lot of black people and Asian. Yeah. And I think our youngsters should know that. We didn't come here like that. We came here, we contributed, right, to the liberation, because, I mean, when you look at the war, with the little war, we all was involved.
But you're left, but you felt that you've been left out. Well,
I felt that enough recognition has not been paid to us. And I mean, this is what I'm saying. What happened to history? All this should have been recorded.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
So you're happy to live in Wolverhampton?
Well, so far I'm happy because I says, I have achieved what I set out to achieve. Like they're the family, the lads, they're all big, they marry. See, and I'm on the board of retiring now because I wasn't with this unemployment group from since '87. We made links. This unemployment group made links in Germany, an unemployed group in France. I went to Poland, and the experience that I have gained is tremendous. And sadly enough, I don't know, probably it's politics is the cause, but when I go over to Germany and there are seminars, people pay more attention and be more respected, which is shocking and surprising because I felt I should have had that here. I went to Poland and that again, and for some obvious reason I don't know why. And when we went to Poland, we went a Saturday doing some shopping, and I had a laugh to myself because people were tripping over. These people never see black people before. You see, but yet still I was comfortable there because, I was given a chance to take part.
That's good. Okay, what about, have you ever returned back home?
Yeah. I returned several times. I recently came from Guyana. I returned the 11th of February. I'm thinking about retiring now.
So are you thinking of going back to live in Guyana?
Maybe I'll go back to live.
Maybe.
Yeah.
See what the futures bring.
Oh, yes, I have to. Maybe I'll go back. Whether I would be there permanently or not, but at least I have somewhere where I could go and relax a bit. And because, since 1987 I'm here, and it's not easy. It's not easy because I'm the chairman for the group, and it's not easy getting people together, and people becomes frustrated. And the task that I have to attend meetings, and every year we are subjected to rigorous, very rigorous, what you call the changes. And because we have to give an account what we're doing. We are at a stage now where we have that. We only would be having funding for the first six months. Then we'll have to prove again what we're doing. And if it's satisfactory, then presumably they would continue the funding. If it's not satisfactory, that would be the end of it. And how amazing it is. Because the group started, people are getting older. Now, this is the thing that I always talk about. What happened to the people 50 and over? They can't get a job. It's difficult for them to find a job. Because as soon as they apply for a job, what they would be told, you're too old, sorry. Now, what would you do with these people? And that population is growing.
I don't know. What would Wolverhampton do for these people?
Yeah, it's sad what's happening. Because we've been challenged now. I had a letter, from the local authority. We get a bit of funding, mainline funding. It's nothing extraordinary, but still. You try to leave a class there to come here. Because the sewing classes aren't there now. And these people would be disappointed.
So what can you tell us about the changes that Wolverhampton done for ethnic minority groups?
As I said, I think they're coming slowly. Because when you look at even this Windrush program, they start to recognize this. And a few weeks ago, they had this African week. And had the school kids involved. And I was asked to be a judge for the school church in the best schools, you know. And what I was pleased about is to see the respect that was shown with the kids, to respect others people's religion. Though it was an African week, it was English kids, it was Asian kids, and kids of different nationality. And they all joined in this celebration, which was good. That's the way it should be. We all are one people.
So you think everyone's Overhampton is actually a community that's coming together now?
Yeah, I think they can start to recognize it slowly. Because, I mean, years ago, I could not have seen that happen in the civic foyer. Because you had the director of education was there, he was one of the judges, the chief executive came and he gave, and that, I think, it's a great improvement. It started to get, but it's slowly, it should have been done ages ago. But I mean, you have to start somewhere. And it's a good thing that they now start to recognize this.
Okay, so you're happy to live in Overhampton. You wouldn't change it for nowhere else in Britain?
It would be difficult for I assess somewhere else after living in Wolverhampton for the past 40 years or so. Yeah, because naturally, if it was that bad, I would have not stopped here. But being here, I think things are improving.
That's good. So you're happy here? You're happy?
Yes, I'm happy. I must have to say that I'm happy here for the time being.